Welcome, everybody, to episode 28 of Understable Minds. My name is Anthony. Sitting next to me in similar but not the same clothing is AJ Risley. Here in just a moment, we will be joined by sitting nowhere near either of us.
Who?
Wearing
Clothes?
Similar to neither of us. Chris Clemons. Chris will be joining us from the road. He is up in Portland, Oregon. Just finished playing in the Portland Open. Will be playing in the Beaver State Fling. But if you are not aware, it is just after the release on June 9th, where we saw a ton of discs be released. Depending on what is and isn't still in stock, we've got Sake Bomb Slammers, first run in the classic Supreme Orbit plastic. They are nasty. Super sweet, very overstable approach disc. Another very overstable approach disc. We've got hybrid culprits with the B Dynamic stamp. A bunch of different discs with the B Dynamic stamp on there. And then in Team Series news, Macy Veladiaz had the Ice Justice.
Ooh.
Very cool.
The crowd is just loving all these discs.
Stoked. Ricky had the Lucid Ice Glimmer Raiders. You have to do this. That's how it's on the stand. It says Lucid Ice Glimmer because it's like a sparkle with your hand. Glimmer. And then Valerie Mandujano, Portland Open champion.
Please.
Valerie Mandujano had not one but two stamps on her Fusion X Vandals, one for each of her Elite Series wins this year. I don't think that's actually why she got two stamps, because these were planned before she won in Portland, but it just kind of works out that way. Pretty sweet.
If you're one of those people who thinks the DGPT is rigged, here's your chance.
Yeah.
Get that pen and paper out. Start writing a letter to your congressman.
All right. Yeah, so if you
about time
if you missed out on the actual release yesterday, be sure to head to dynamicdiscs.com and see what is left in stock. Unfortunately, some things will be sold out, but you will still be able to get plenty, I'm sure. Hopefully you snagged whatever is sold out. But
I've heard those Mouthless Kings are a bit more overstable.
Are they?
Yeah.
I know that's
It's just a bit.
From what I understand, a pretty limited run.
Yeah.
I don't know exact numbers on them, but I believe it's pretty limited. So, hopefully if you're wanting one of those to throw and or collect, hopefully you did snag one. Snag it. You did.
Yeah, I mean those.
Hopefully.
Yeah, it was a risky marketing strategy to make a whole new die plate, run a whole new a whole new run of Kings with this new stamp with such a small change in the stamp design, just beard over mouth, or maybe it was mustache over mouth. Pretty risky, but I think it's gonna work. It's gonna pay off.
I think so.
Because like I said, those Mouthless Kings, just a little bit more overstable.
You know what else is gonna pay off? Interviewing Chris Clemons.
I sure hope so.
Should we?
You got a couple chuckles out of that.
It is not a tough crowd out here tonight. It is a very easy, there's tomatoes flying. All right, let's.
That crowd has an ego too.
Right.
That crowd cares about what you say.
They'll switch on you quick too. They're on your side, and then immediately you say one thing about them, and they're off. But
just like Planet Earth, that crowd is. No, wait.
Find it. Get there.
Bipolar.
They liked it.
Yeah,
I think they liked it.
I think Earth only has one pole, one axis.
One axis, two poles.
I don't even.
All right, let's get over to our call with, and they're off. They're off the AJ train.
My apologies.
Let's get on the train, head all the way to the Pacific Northwest. Let's get with Chris Clemons, talk about how his season has been going, how it will go. He's got some exciting news about culprits coming that aren't these ones. Let's check it out.
Is he superstitious? Do you know?
Let's ask him. Here we are, joined by the one, the only, calling all the way from, as I look at a map, that way, all the way that way from the Pacific Northwest, all the way up in Portland, Oregon, or at least the Portland area. We have Chris Clemens on the line. Hi, Chris.
Hello, hello.
How's the weather up there?
It's pretty good today. It's supposed to be nice all week, but for Beaver State, it's looking a little wet.
A little gross.
Ooh.
A little Portlandy sometimes.
Yeah, but it was supposed to rain kind of the entire tournament for Portland, but it didn't really rain much at all. It was off and on, so
Did you
never
guys?
know.
Yeah, because it rained a little bit during the FPO rounds, right? Was it round 2 or round 3? I think it was. They got some rain. How was it for you
Yeah.
guys? Because you teed off later in the afternoon.
It wasn't too bad. Like I thought the weekend at Glendoveer, I thought it was going to be awful. Like the forecast just looked terrible, but it just kind of didn't really do much. And the huge like fir trees out there, they just blocked all the rain. So you could, and a lot of tee pads were under them. So you like really didn't even need an umbrella half the time, even if it was raining.
Nice.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was
well,
nice.
While we are on the subject of weather, we were going to get to this later, but we have a question from somebody in the squad for you. I believe their name is Shyam, Shyam, Shyam.
Cheyenne.
Shyam.
With an M.
Cheyenne
No,
with
it's
an M?
M. Shyam.
M
Yeah,
as in
I don't know.
Cheyenne.
Yes.
Cheyenne.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I apologize for butchering that. But they had a question for you, and they said, how should I approach a round in a tournament where playing conditions are very difficult? So say there weren't trees covering the tee pads, or it was raining so heavily. We'll say that it was raining so heavily. Like, what would you do? Do you have advice, or what do you do, and what would you advise someone in that situation?
Yeah, I remember vividly my first round I ever played in the rain was at the Four States Open in A tier way back when, and I had won the year before in advance, and this is my first year playing at an Open, and I just played terrible. The rain killed me. I wasn't prepared. So over the years, I have learned that you kind of have to mitigate your expectations. You're not going to play your best round. I try to bring a lot of towels. I try to slow my footing down a little bit. And I just try to stay in the moment, like it's easy to get frustrated and feel like it's too much to deal with, but you just got to take your time and concentrate on each shot, really.
That's got to be a difficult mindset, because like you're obviously very good at disc golf. You're going into this tournament, I would assume, with the expectation or the hope of like, I'm going to win this thing. But then to go into it and say, like, limit those expectations and say, I know I'm not going to play my best. That's got to have like some weird mental effect on you, where it's like, okay, I'm going to go out here and do my best, but my best it's impossible for my best to be my best. And then it's almost like you're starting off on the wrong foot, but not because of anything you're doing.
It's a slightly different
in a
game.
Way, yeah, it is. It is a different game, but nobody's going to shoot, that 1100 rated round in the rain. And so I know that. So I just have to know that I got to throw a little bit different. I might not be able to throw the exact shots that I practiced just because, the rain might not allow it, or the footing. And so you just kind of have to, play smart and think about each shot and just take what the course gives you, really.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, I've found that it's like you have this list of priorities each different day that you go out and play, and like you said, if you're trying to win an event and trying to play your best, your number one priority might be the shot itself, each particular shot for each particular hole. Now, and then, second and third and fourth on that priority list is, blood sugar levels, conditions, whatever else it may be. There's probably like 10 things to think about all at once during that tournament round. When you get to the course and it's a downpour, or you are driving to the course and all the trees around you are just like swaying all, your subconscious or even your conscious starts to rearrange those priorities. And so if it's steady rain and it's going to be steady rain, your number one priority is your umbrella and your bag of towels.
And keeping the disc dry.
And so then
Right.
the golf and each individual shot kind of falls down on that priority list. And it's not so much that it becomes less important. I mean, I guess it does, but it's more so than your subconscious, and that muscle memory plays a much bigger role. So for some people, for some people, that's things like that really helps. Like I remember a long time ago, I was playing an advanced. I was still playing in the amateur divisions. Went to Vegas, and I made it onto the lead card for the final round.
Hey.
And that final round, I had come down with the flu, and so we started playing, and I was just like, head was super heavy, and I started puking like on the third hole, and puked like 3 times throughout the whole round.
Gross.
Shot the hot round, won the division by 10 because
Intimidation.
could have been maybe.
You puked on everybody.
Right.
Quit.
Everybody else DNF'd.
But it wasn't like everybody played worse. It's just that for that particular reason, that the nerves got pushed to the side, because the nerves of throwing
you don't
a
have
good
the
shot.
energy to be nervous in that situation,
Right.
Because you're
Yeah,
focused on
Michael Jordan had that flu game,
Yeah.
and like some
Yeah.
people play really well. I've played really well when I was like feeling under the weather as well, because you're just kind of like, all right, well, you're not stressing out about the round or how well you're going to shoot. You're just like, I just have to get through this.
right. I feel
Yeah.
like you'd almost just rely on like your instincts as the player, right? Like I've been doing this for 5, 10, 15, however many years. Like I know how to throw a 250-foot hyzer, so I just have to do it because I can't put more energy into that.
Yeah.
Right.
Especially mental energy. So
Right. So let's get away from AJ puking.
please.
Let's move more back to Chris and,
Not
maybe
puking.
not puking. His healthy, and some might even call it very healthy 2022 season. You're kind of, I guess this would be better phrased as a question. Would you agree that this is probably, so far at least, your best start to the season in the last handful of seasons? You're having a great year so far.
Yeah. I think that's what I've tried to do, like each off season over the years, is like, have a better start. I think, some of the courses we play in the first like 2 months of the season aren't necessarily my strong suit. And then we're usually playing in high winds. And, so each year I've tried to like get off to quicker starts, and so this year I've been able to do that. I've had some pretty good finishes, and, when we were talking about conditions, Waco, I remember before the first round, like it was super crazy, super windy, super cold. And I was getting pumped in my van. Just like, I was so ready to go, because I was like, I know everybody else is dreading this. So I'm just going to be like, this is awesome, and use the wind to my advantage. And so, it's been a really good start, and I feel really good. And so I want to like continue that good play, and I've played well in the latter half of a lot of seasons, because we're playing more like wooded tracks, more stuff that's a little more technical for my skill set. And so, I hope I can shoot, just as well as I have in the past this year. So it'd be sick.
Is that something like you had talked about? You typically, it probably because, like you had said, the courses towards the later half of the season fit your game better. Is that something that you kind of, going into your off seasons, towards the end of the year, my game kind of finds itself, those courses fit me better? So do you kind of gear your off seasons towards the start of the season, or is that more just these ones don't fit my game, so I need to adapt my game to it? Is it kind of correlation versus causation?
I think, when the season starts, we're kind of thrown into the deep end. Like, I usually don't play any B or C tiers or anything like that to like warm up. I just go like straight to Vegas. And so I've had to get used to that a little bit, but now I'm, used to it. And I think also, like, I get a question all the time. People ask me, do you think courses set up better for righties and stuff like that? And it's like, I used to like think about that and like dwell on that and be like, man, that's the reason where I'm not finishing the way I want to. But I'm like, I don't think about that anymore. I just have to do what I can do. And I'm on equal footing at the beginning of every tournament, Like
Right.
everybody's at the same amount of strokes. And so, stop playing like the victim and just go out and do what I can do. But yeah, in the off season, like I will work on like more distance and stuff like that, and that's what you need at the beginning of the season for sure.
Yeah, it definitely seems to be like you had talked about with wind, especially at Waco, here at the Dynamic Discs Open, and then yeah, distance like you just played OTB Open, Dynamic Discs Open again, where you're playing these long courses where sometimes distance helps you, sometimes it hurts you, but if you have the distance and the accuracy, then golden.
For real.
Kind of
Right.
kind of what you're looking for. So what is it that you think about this season relative to last season or seasons past that you've done differently? Obviously, we're calling you from your van. This is your first year kind of having your own home on wheels, so to speak.
Mhm.
Has that helped? Has it just been, I don't know, maybe just the new season, new year, new me type thing?
I think it's probably a lot of like little things. I've been doing it for a couple years now.
Mm-hmm.
I've played a lot of the courses that we've played at the beginning of the season, so I've known them. I knew what to expect. I'm happy. For me, like being happy, being content with my life situation outside of disc golf, and then also being able to get in a rhythm, a routine, and stuff like that, like really helps me and helps me play well. And so I've been able to do that, this year. And so it's been a lot of fun. Yeah, I think having the van, like it's, a little bit at first, I didn't quite know what to expect. We've, in the past couple of years, I toured with Jordan Castro, Eric Oakley. We'd stay at Airbnbs, hosts, hotels. And so the van, I was like, it's going to be a little different, but it's been awesome. You kind of get to go wherever and you can stay wherever and it's like yours,
Right.
and so
Yeah, totally.
it's nice. Yeah, and I stopped in Colorado after the Dynamic Disc Open on the way out to California and stayed at my friend's house for a couple days, and we like did some work on the van and knocked this back wall out that Jonathan Nicholson had put in there and added like a foot and a half of bed space.
Oh,
So
sweet.
that was that. Yeah, that's been awesome. And so it's cool. I was like, because we got the van and I was like, let's just take it how it is and then see what we want to change about it,
Right.
throughout the season.
Yeah. Yeah, as much as having the van and having that be a thing that, like, now you have to worry about it, right? You have to worry about keeping up with the oil and the tires and the brakes and all that. I feel like it would have to be freeing where you don't have to rely on anyone else for a ride or how am I going to get here? Or how am I going to get there? It's like you said, you're leaving Emporia. You can just spend a couple of days in Colorado and just, and like you said, you can kind of make it your own. Yeah. Everybody talks about how golf is a mental game, but it's a mental game on the course, but it really is interesting to see how much your your mentality outside of the game can impact it. Like you had said,
Totally.
like you're happy,
sure.
you're relaxed, you're free, you're in a rhythm. Like that stuff totally makes a difference, and it shows for
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
would
like
say
what
most people.
you're saying. If you just substitute mental for physical, then you start to imagine. Well, if I want to be, if I want to have X amount of strength and stamina on the course in the arena during game time, I have to train and I have to lift weights. I have to stretch. I have to do all this physical training. So then swap out, substitute physical for mental again. And, there's a van gives you this little bubble of solidarity. You can meditate much
your
more
own
easily
space,
in that space.
right?
Right.
Eat the food you want and
Yeah.
listen to the music when you want to and stuff like that. Yeah.
We mentioned that you're in a different vehicle, and you also mentioned Jordan Castro and Eric Oakley. So how has life on the road with Hannah, your girlfriend, and Macaroni? How has that affected you? What's your view on that?
It's been amazing. Macaroni has been a lot better than we expected. He's a pretty young cat. He's only like a year and a half, and he can get pretty wily. but he's been amazing. And we like made him an Instagram. And so everybody wants to come and see him. When we were at Portland, somebody walked up to the van and they were like, "Is Macaroni in here?" They're like, "We just want to see Macaroni." Like they didn't care about us. They just wanted to see the cat. But it's been really nice. And I think, you know, my first couple years touring, like Jordan Castro, I would go with him. And when we come to a course like Milo McIver, I had never been and he had. So he would like show me the way, show me the lines, tell me about the history of the course, you know, just playing like a new course with your friend. And so I've been able to do that with Hannah now. And I really enjoy that. Yeah. And so it's been super fun and she's loving it. And she's kind of like me. She's excited to play the more like wooded part of the tour and be up here in the Pacific Northwest. It's been really awesome. So yeah, we're having a lot of fun.
Yeah, I bet she's loving it because that's home for her up there, isn't it? She's from Washington?
Yeah, Spokane. It's like on the eastern side of Washington, almost in Idaho.
Okay. So as close as the tour gets, but
yeah,
still not quite 100% there.
Right.
So some other exciting news that we have in regards to Chris Clemons, like we had talked about sitting in front of me before Chris was on the phone, we talked about this, releasing on June 9th, we have Hybrid Culprits, but Chris Clemons coming at date, I don't know if it's even figured out yet, or I don't know if you know it.
To be announced.
Right. I know that I don't know it. I don't know if there even is a date to announce, but why don't you talk about maybe the culprit or some exciting culprit news down the road, Chris?
Yeah. So I've been throwing the culprit now for about 2 months. It's been awesome. I used it a lot at Glendoveer. I used it a lot at Blue Lake as well. I still have my old like beat-in harp in the bag because I'm still trying to beat in like my baseline culprit and still trying to see if it'll like replace that like dead straight 300-foot shot with a little bit of hyzer, but I think it will. Like it's really good and it just like it flies easy, forehand or backhand. Like it's what I've been wanting in an approach disc, you know, for a long time. And it's just sick. And so I'm excited for the Lucid X release to see how they are. Hopefully they're like real flat, real puddle top. They're going to be amazing. I throw the hybrid one too, and it's a meat hook. It just like dumps at the end. It's crazy. But yeah, it's a super sick disc. I think I've gotten a lot of feedback on it already. People messaging me being like, "Dude, I love it." Some guy was just talking to me the other day. He's like, "I've had zones in the bag for like 5 years, but I got a culprit. My buddy gave me one, and I'm thinking about switching." I was like, "You should.
Right.
You definitely should."
I mean, he would. Imagine if he came up to you and started that conversation and was like, I'm thinking about switching, but I'm not going to." Like,
right.
What are you telling me that for? Like, you know, that's going to have my name on it. Like,
that is
how dare you?
That reminds me of the guy who messaged me randomly. I just got like a random like message request on Instagram a couple years back, and he was like, "Man, I lost my favorite like overstable mid-range disc, and so like I'm looking for something that'll do this and that." He spends a paragraph describing a verdict, and he messaged me, but he never mentioned the verdict. He's like, "Dude, what do you think I should get?" And I'm like, "Is this like a fishing thing or something? Like, what do you think I'm gonna?" Yeah, that's what I thought, because he like just described the verdict and he's messaging me, so I figured he already knew. But,
I got the same message.
It was pretty funny.
And I talked to a bunch of people at the time, and they were like, "Dude, you get that message from Mike? What's his face?"
Tell him a Warden. Be like, "Yeah, dude, a Warden's what you need."
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Oh, you're trying to get that max distance with the on a roller? Yeah.
Hybrid Wardens.
Hybrid Warden. Duh.
Warden.
Just throw it upside down. Perfect.
And it's great. So you said that your Team Series 1 will be Lucid X?
I believe so.
Okay.
I believe so.
Do you, if you know a date and you can't say it yet, please don't. But like, do you know a time
I do not.
frame? Okay.
I do not yet. No.
I
think it's pretty soon, but
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, I know that it's in the works because we were talking with, obviously, as you can tell, Eric McCabe is not here today. He said we had to make sure to talk to you about them because he said that it's coming soon. So, for the show notes, I put culprit, give us details, yo. So, give
those
us details,
are the details I know. Yeah, I'm wanting that release for sure. I know a lot of people are. So, hopefully it's soon. I'm hoping so.
Same, because I love this Frisbee. It is the guy who said, like, oh, I've been throwing zones and this is exactly what I want. Like, that's me, aside from the I've been throwing zones part of it. This is what I've been wanting. I love the Suspects. I love the Lucid X Suspects. You're in Nicholson's old van. He had the Hybrid X Suspects. I think he still does.
Yep.
Fantastic. Yeah. But something with just
They're really good.
Yeah, something with just a little bit more bite at the end.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I've been wanting for so long, and that's what the culprit is. There's Sake Bomb Slammers, there's regular Slammers, there's Harps, but those are all deep.
They're pretty deep, yeah.
For me, that just didn't work, and the culprit is shallower. Would you say it's shallow? Oh, we lost you, Chris. Hold on a second.
Lost him for a second there.
We can see you, but we can't hear you.
In other news, I'm a pathological liar.
It's fair.
Okay.
There we go.
I think somebody muted me.
Danny. I wish I could take credit for that.
Yeah, it's like the host muted everyone.
Right. Okay, so then, just go with, would you say it's shallow or not shallow?
Yeah, I think it's, to me, like because I used to throw the Justice, and the Justice has like that bead, so it makes it a little deeper for my forehands. And so then I went to an anvil, and I was like, man, this thing comes out clean because it doesn't have that bead, so it's shallow. And I think the culprit is like kind of similar to a slower anvil. Like it comes out super clean and it dumps pretty hard. But I think like that prime moonshine, that a lot of people got, it's beaten in, and so it's like getting some glide straight and then dumping. So it's like it's really nice. It's really nice.
Yeah, I have been loving this thing. I can't wait for Lucid X and whatever other plastic blends and materials and mixes and matches and stuff you come out with in the future. Sign me up for all of them.
Yeah,
right. And because a lot of people, like, the harp does feel good, but yeah, it's kind of deep, and it's kind of deep for a lot of people. Not everybody has freaking monkey paws like Ricky, throwing that slammer. And so, like, if you have smaller hands or you like something that's shallower, if you forehand a lot, then you'll probably really love the culprit.
And if you don't, like, just try it.
Yeah,
try throwing forehand approaches, because maybe it's me and I'm just very bad at backhand approaches, but I genuinely feel like it is an easier way to approach the basket from like 150 feet to just stand there, not have to move, and just go and flick your wrist. Just
all day.
Yeah. I agree with you. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like what it is about a backhand and a forehand. I think you're right.
Backhand is like you have all your hips. I mean, from your hips to your fingers, all have to be in sync and in tune and perfect and whatever. Whereas a sidearm, like, you could not move your hips and just fling your arm.
It could just be shoulder to fingers.
I think.
Pretty
much
probably
like
core to fingers.
I watch like Mason and Valerie. Like, I played with Mason this weekend, and I watch Valerie, and like they throw a lot of backhand up shots, and like, but you can tell they put in a lot of time and a lot of effort in like getting that distance right when it's 100 feet, 125 feet. And I feel like with the forehand, you can stand towards the basket, not turn your head away from it, just kind of just flick it right up there. It's very simple, very easy. And I think it's a little easier to learn for a lot of people who don't want to put in tons of time to like get those backhand up shots.
Right. Yeah. It's like in golf, I've been trying to learn golf. I won't say I've been learning golf, but I've been trying to learn golf.
Oh boy, I want to see videos of this.
It's you pretty much just watch any PGA Tour event or live golf event, whatever. It looks really similar to that, but like they'll finish a hole in like 4 strokes, And the very first hole I ever played, I finished it in 11, so I basically played 3 holes in one.
Man,
I've seen worse than
you
that.
just really enjoy golf.
Yeah, I'm
You're
just
trying to
efficient.
savor the moment.
Right, I got 3 holes in 1 hole. Like,
Dang.
yeah,
great.
I'm just efficient with my time, really. And
It's good practice.
yeah, exactly. See, it's all about practicing and building for the future is really what we're going for. But like,
I like this.
yes, it seems to be a lot of like having the same swing, but then changing your club because they have different angles of loft, and so it might go higher, so you can still swing it up faster speed. And I feel like that's kind of what like a culprit, justice, anvil does. It's almost like your wedges, where like you don't if you're trying to throw a Warden backhand straight, like you were talking about with Mason and Valerie, where like they've practiced and put in the time to know I can do this and it'll go 165 feet, boom. Whereas for somebody like me, I can just take a justice and just chuck it because like it's not going to go more than 160 feet. It's just blah,
Right.
and then it's there. So I don't have to be precise or think I can just maul the thing, and it's good.
I wonder if that has to do with like the difference in touch
Skills. Oh,
well, I mean, I was kind of
talent, ability.
I was going laterally. I was going laterally like this, forehand and backhand. I wasn't trying to like
ends of the spectrum in terms of talent and talentless.
right.
Yeah,
No,
that's fair. It does have something to do with their talent versus mine. 100.
And what were we saying before the show? You're only dumb if you don't prepare, and so you're only talentless if you don't prepare. And so it's
Are you
so
saying
like
I came
what Chris?
unprepared?
No.
You were saying before I came on, you calling me dumb?
And well, no, I think
He called you dumb.
No, wait.
I called you very dumb.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. That's fair.
Oh my gosh.
I'm just trying to get through this part so that we can get to the Roni interview. That's all I want here.
Yeah, bring him up.
I don't know where he's at. He's probably sleeping. Oh, he's on the floor sleeping.
Does he like to hide in there? I'm sure he's got some like crazy little nooks and crannies to get in.
Yeah, he does. He kind of stays out when we're driving, but occasionally he'll go back. Like there's like a little thing where like a lot of the batteries are and stuff, and he'll kind of like hide back there. Then he has like his litter box under. It's like in a cabinet kind of and like secluded away, and so he like gets to go in there. But one time we did leave a cabinet open, and he was like up in there when we came back in. So
Yep.
yeah, he's got little nooks and crannies he likes for sure.
Funny. Does he? So I see on Instagram all the time. You guys will like take him out walking to the beach or on the course or whatever. Does he enjoy that stuff, or is that like mom and dad forcing him? Like, come on, socialize.
Well, he loves being outside, and so we bought like like a 50 foot just line, and we can like tie the line to 2 trees and then like put his little leash on there, and so he can walk back and forth.
Yeah.
He does like going out and like walking around, but the day we did take him to the beach, I think it freaked him out. He doesn't like water and like loud noises, and so but he's getting more used to it. And we actually bought him like it's like a huge pet stroller, man. Like how Germ has like a freaking cart for his discs. This is kind of similar to that, but it has like a spot for Roni. So I was like, yeah, we can roll him around on the course and stuff like that. He's getting used to it. Just unsure about it.
But when that tea time hits, send him back to the van. We don't
in the car, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or else I'm gonna call Joe Chargaloff and your ass is out of here.
Yeah. Hey man, you can't have pet caddies, bro.
Right. Cat's got to be 13. So my cats hate being outside, even if we're just like walking from the house to the car. They're not about it. Yeah. And so Madison got like there's these backpacks that are like designed to be pet holders, and the back is just like a giant clear plastic thing.
Yeah.
Not fan.
Do they like?
Still not a fan.
Fans.
Dang.
No.
Bummer.
I don't know if Roni would like that. I don't know if he would.
Yeah. I haven't tried like a cat leash because I feel like they would just somehow wriggle their way out of it and I'd never find them again. But yeah, anytime it's like we're just walking, like you either put them in like a little pet taxi thing so that they can't get out, or it's like a 2-arm like death grip and you're just getting clawed up because like not happy cats when they're outside. They were both rescue cats.
Right.
So I think it's like they think, I'm going back to the streets.
Outside bed.
Right.
Yeah.
When really it's like, hey man, like we're just going to the car. Like it's cool. It's warm in there. It's fine. It's dry. Like you're solid.
Something
Not
about
happy.
something about cats and perimeters, man.
Yeah.
They gotta.
It is.
They gotta be. They gotta know what the perimeter is. That's
Right.
That's
And they gotta, like,
their number
sniff
one
it out.
priority.
There it is.
Definitely. Because we like went to see Hannah's dad, and we brought Roni inside for the week, and he was just all over the place, just sniffing everything the whole first day.
Uh-huh.
But we do get comments a lot, like, because we'll have Roni out on the leash and have like the van door open, and people will just walk by and be like, "Oh, a cat on a leash!" Like they have never seen the cat. That's what they say every time.
Ball
They've never
in a
seen a
bag.
cat. Yeah, they've never seen a cat on a leash, and so I was like, "Yeah, I think it is." He's kind of one of a kind, I guess. Like cats usually don't like leashes. They're like, "Dude, my cat will just like roll over. I gotta
Yes.
like pull him."
Yeah. My girlfriend
stuff, but-
she loves putting outfits on our cats.
Oh, nice. Fun.
Oh,
They don't
nice.
like that, but the cats immediately just
Nope.
they just
Yep.
flop it. They just flop on their side. Like, nope, I'll just stay here till you
Yep.
take this off. Because I'm
They're
not.
just not used to it.
Yeah, not interested. They like being cats. They don't
Mhm.
like being puppets or show cats or
Right.
whatever. They just like being
little
cats.
dress up dolls.
Right. Yeah, they want to take naps, eat, play every once in a while. Just cat
It's
stuff.
like all
I
of
feel like
us.
we've said the word cat enough to.
Not enough.
Well, no, we've said the word enough to warrant a comment or two from Danny.
Meow.
I feel like Danny might have some input on cat-related subjects.
Cat poop.
My cat, I bring her from Manhattan down to Emporia and back and forth about every month, and she doesn't normally meow. Like normally, she just
Yeah.
kind of squeaks, kind of like
Chirps.
right? But like doesn't actually meow.
Uh-huh.
But then when she's in the car, she howls. It is loud. She hates it so much. She'll eventually calm down. But yeah,
Yeah.
full on like
Back of the throat.
yeah. She
Guttural.
is mad.
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I'm the same, I'm
Every
the
time I
same-
get in the car.
I'm the same way. It's just instead of meowing, it's just singing. So it's like
Yeah, that's fair.
every right now he'll give you a little like la 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 la.
Except the
But we're not.
song
We're not in a
is-
car. Chris is in a car.
Screw you, Dad. I want to go home. This is awful.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate everything.
Like, that's the cat song.
She is a teenager, though, so that is kind of fitting.
Yeah. It
So
fits.
Makes sense.
teenager, so she is eligible to caddy for you.
Yeah.
She is. Well, in cat years.
Oh, hey.
In cat years,
Yeah.
she's 2.
Perfect.
Or, I think 2, yeah, just over 2, which is what, 14 in cat years?
I thought
Something
dog
like
years
that.
was 7, cat years was 6.
No. Well, it's probably been April was her birthday, so yeah.
2.5.
enough.
So therefore,
I'm gonna need to see that birth certificate.
should be 15. She almost
Yeah.
drives.
So I've
got-
got,
gonna
I've
need
got,
it.
I've got PDGA Joe on speed dial.
Get your 13-year-olds to carry their ID with them so they can caddy for you, for sure.
Right.
I mean, Isabel had a passport. Anyways,
Right.
sorry.
Old news. Old news. old
Such
jokes.
news.
Let's move into new news, future news.
Current and future news
Yeah.
and disc golf, maybe.
Disc golf. Yeah. Unfortunately, probably not cat related. But like you had said, you've got Beaver State Fling coming up this weekend.
Yep.
Give us kind of a little bit of a preview from the Chris Clemens side of Beaver State Fling. Expectations, thoughts. Are you excited to play my favorite course in the entire world? Do you not care that it's my favorite course in the entire world? Does that thought not cross your mind?
Do
I
you
didn't
ever
know it
think
was your
about
favorite
me?
course.
Now that you know,
I
does
do
it change
think
your
about you.
opinions? Yeah, thanks, yes.
It's one of my top courses for sure. I think actually on my little tour card that you can get in those packs, it says it is my favorite course.
Sick.
So it's just so much fun to be out there, even if you're not playing. But when you get to play it, it's so much fun. All the shots are super fun. There's not like OB scattered everywhere. Like if you throw into the junk, that's your fault and that sucks for you. But you still have like a chance to save par, which is nice.
Right.
But I think it's going to be awesome. Even if it is a little rainy, it's still going to be amazing because it's Milo. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I haven't quite looked at the field, but I imagine that everybody there's anybody, we'll be there playing, just like last weekend. And so,
just like every other Beaver State fling.
Right.
yeah, exactly.
Gosh.
Like I think a lot of the locals, like, because I did a thing at what is it? All day disc golf. The Tomanos run it up here in Portland, and a lot of the locals were coming in and like, dude, Portland was cool, but Beaver State fling, man, like they're so excited about it because we haven't played it in so many years.
Yeah, that's the one that's got all the history. And
Yep.
I'm glad you said that we haven't played it because, last year it was canceled because they had that huge ice storm come through and at like the very end of winter. And I heard there was like some damage to the course, but maybe minor stuff. Have you been to the course yet to see it?
Yeah. Yeah. I was there a couple weeks ago practicing, and then we've been practicing the last couple days. I mean, it feels like Milo.
Yeah.
Nothing has really changed. We actually watched some FBO coverage last night, and a lot of stuff has like grown up, so
Really?
some lines are a little different. Yeah.
Awesome.
So it's just as good as it always was.
Cool. That's very good to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For
that is good.
disc golf as a whole, but for me, what really matters is that
For me too, man. I'm right there with you. That's maybe not. I mean, it's hard for any course to take Maple Hill's top spot in my mind.
sure.
Right. That's another one that's up there.
I would always answer the question, "What's your favorite tournament?" Though with the Beaver State Fling.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's just you have two separate courses that are unique. You can tell that they're on the same exact property. They do share a lot of qualities, but I noticed right away easy to distinguish east from west.
Yeah.
And which I think makes for a great tournament atmosphere. So you have these two very challenging courses. They're similar yet different. West course has the Philo Albatross hole. It has the Dream hole.
Yeah.
It's got
Which one's the Dream hole? What is that one?
it's 13 or 14, teeing off right behind 5's tee pad.
Yeah. Down
Going-
towards the river. The basket kind of sits between these two tall
That's called the
trees.
Dream hole.
Yeah, because
Okay.
it looks
Nice.
like someone designed, someone dreamt it up and then made
Nice.
it
And then
a
here you go.
reality.
Yeah.
And then the East course
Okay.
is just as remarkable
got-
and
It's got Genius
famous. It's
over
got-
there, right?
It's
On
got the
east?
Genius. It's got the Green Monster. Hole 18 is such a great finishing par 3.
What's the Green Monster? what's that
14 the par 5?
Oh, the Green Monster. Okay.
I mean,
All right.
just it kind of depends on who you're around and who you talk to, and
I love the nicknames, so I want to learn all of them.
I've
Yeah.
heard all of those except for Green Monster. I
Yeah.
hadn't heard that one before.
yeah, it's dude, yeah. So, I mean that tournament, that place holds a very special place in my heart as well. That was like I think the first time I traveled out of California by myself to play a disc golf
Ooh.
tournament.
Yeah.
And
That's a good one.
Yeah, and then, I mean, when I cashed there for the first time, it was a monumental experience just because that field has always been 80 extremely good players, 80 players,
Yep.
and for a while it was like, oh, there's 10 players under 1,000, and
Right.
yeah,
And back then, that was crazy.
oh yeah. So it was just
Yeah.
always like the most densely talented field, and so I felt amazing and felt a huge sense of accomplishment having shot 4 rounds under par above my rating and cashed, and the first time, and then just to toot my own horn one more time, in 2019 I played my way onto the lead card for the 3 rounds,
Yep.
and my sister was there to watch me play the third and final round.
I remember
both
that.
of those.
Yep.
And that was my fondest memory. So
Yeah.
When we were
Go ahead.
looking up those videos last night, and Hannah was like, "Oh, AJ's on this one." I was like, "Yeah, he slayed it back in 2019 there." Like I remember that because you were on there. Wasn't Jordan on there with you, Castro?
we ended up tying, and he I think
Yeah.
I think he
Those are headphones.
Yep. So
With
I
Kevin.
think I was on 3 rounds of Central Coast, and he was either on 2 or 3 rounds of Jomez.
Nice.
Yeah, that was that was a cool experience. That was the last time. I mean, the Elite Series in disc golf, it really just needs to include Milo McIver and the Beaver State Fling. It would it's felt very strange the past 2 seasons without a Beaver State Fling right in our faces.
Right.
Only having Portland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To me, Beaver State Fling and Masters Cup just go hand in hand in my mind of like that. Just even back when I first got into disc golf, 15 years ago or whatever, it was always like those were like 2 huge events that everybody was like, you got to go play those 2. Like De La and Milo are some of the best courses, and still now 15 years later, they're still up there in terms of the best courses that we have, and
that are still hard. And to me, Maple Hill, De La, and Milo are all like 3 courses that have been around for a long time, and they're still as hard as they ever were. And they give the top pros problems, and there's a lot of par 3s on them. And so it's like it's kind of old school golf, but it still holds up. So you can just tell they're amazing courses.
What do you think it is that gives those courses kind of give the longevity, I guess, to stand the test of time, where maybe disc technology hasn't changed a ton in the last 10 years, but the players as a whole, on average, the average touring player in 2022 versus 2012, they've got to be 20 points higher.
Right. Well, I think what leads to that is the faith in those tracks. It's the faith that this course and this property is good enough, is up to standard for what we want our elite level disc golf to be.
What is it specifically about those courses? Because you could have a great piece of property, and if every hole is 300 feet and there's not enough trees and it's just an easy course, like it could still be.
Probably for for De La, it's probably all the danger of rollaways and stuff like that. If you don't throw a really good shot, it could be disaster. Maple Hill, I think just like a lot of the shot shapes and technicality of it, can lead to big scores. So it causes people to not like super attack it. And Milo, I think it's like the fairways are big, but there is a lot of danger. I don't know. It's like hard to pinpoint it. Yeah, exactly. Like it's hard to really pinpoint it, but they just keep standing the test of time, and they're always a joy to play. And so, but it's cool because like even, somebody, a 950 rated player could go out there and have fun and get birdies on those courses, and I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I think you nailed it there. I think where you said it's challenging, but it's fun to play, right? It's like, this course can punch you in the mouth, but it doesn't feel like you're getting punched in the mouth.
Yeah, you're still going to have fun.
Right, yeah, you're still somehow going to enjoy it. Before I moved out there, I went out there on a trip to like look at apartments and do I actually want to move out here? And I played a 1-day B tier or C tier maybe, and me and one guy on my card were not on our A game, right? We were both struggling our way through that place, and it was like both of us were just like, man, anything that can go wrong is like can't throw a good shot. And he just looked at me and he was like, you know what? Like a bad day at Milo is better than a good day anywhere else.
Yeah.
And it's like, he's right.
It's
like,
true.
It's just when you have a course like that just has something, you can just this sucks, but like I'm somehow having so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think part of that is like the seclusion, and I think all 3 of these courses that we're talking about they all feel secluded. Maple Hill for sure. Even being on hole 1 and that road is like 20 feet from you, there's a wall of trees, and so and even then it's like it's almost like a backcountry kind of road. Milo, holy crap! You gotta
go
backcountry road is
you
a
pay
while.
your parking fee, and then 10 minutes later you're literally like down at the course, like down 100 feet to the like level of the river, and yeah, it's just secluded. I think there's like it's this subconscious feeling of you go through the gate and all of the rest of the real world, just you leave it behind.
Yeah.
And so kind of going back to what we started this conversation with was, you think about that level, those priorities, and is it so much, am I worrying about my score? Am I worrying about how to manipulate the disc or the conditions and all that? On a macro level, on a bigger level, Milo kind of shifts those priorities. You know, it's like disc golf, family, health, taxes, or finances or whatever. And most of the time it's like disc golf is down at the bottom and at a course like Milo, at a course like Maple Hill and Daylot, and there's plenty of others. Those priorities, the ones, everything that's like non-disc golf kind of just washes away.
Yeah.
So
it's
it is pretty special. I would say, like,
you guys need to come out here. Sound like you want to.
All right.
Yeah.
We got a couple days.
Like, yeah.
What time do you tee?
I don't know yet.
I'll
I
be
think
there.
I find out tonight.
Tonight, yeah. We have plenty of time then. We'll pack our bags.
Come on.
Find a flight.
Yeah, I definitely would.
I would love
want to be there. Yeah.
Absolutely. Before we move
Sick.
into our final topic for you, Chris, we've got a couple of squad questions. First one, pretty simple, comes to us from Nick. Nick wants to know if you have any pre-tournament kind of rituals or superstitions, things that you like to do, maybe before your round or before the day before an event. Anything?
Yeah, the morning before my round, like I have to have coffee. I have to put on lotion, have lotion on the hands.
Really?
And oh yeah. And then I have to take all my vitamins. And then when I put my shoes on, I rarely ever tie them. Like when I put them on, I wait till I get to the practice field, and before anything else, then I'll tie each shoe and make sure they're good. I'm a little, I played baseball, so I have a lot of things I like to do and feel good about and I always have to have Burt's Bees in my left pocket. So
interesting.
See, initially it was kind of
and
like,
I got to be chewing gum.
That's
gotta be chewing gum.
Okay, yeah, that just kind of, we kept progressing further and further into the superstitions of like, baseball, like just don't step on the line. It's whatever, you're fine. Okay, I'll tie my shoes when I get there. It's like, that could just be like, it's a laziness thing. But then like, well, I have to have Burt's Bees, and it has to be in my left pocket, and I have to be chewing gum, and it has to be spearmint, and it has to be.
It has to be 5 gum. It's like winter mint, or I don't know. It's a blue one.
What color?
Cobalt, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That's
there
what
you
it's
go.
called.
So if
it's
anybody's
blue.
looking to get on Chris's good side, Burt's Bees, Cobalt 5 gum. Also, if those companies are listening, trying to sponsor them, there you go.
You're gonna start getting like packs of gum thrown at you,
right?
Just like the
hand
Foo Fighters and
I make a
Mentos.
putt and they're just like throwing gum at me. That'd be cool.
Well, that was like back in the day. Marshawn Lynch had the Skittles.
Oh man, yeah.
Chris will get a birdie, and we'll just see him putting chapstick on.
Yeah. Or like I walk by the crowd and they just have gum like holding it out.
Right.
Just bite each one. Oh yeah.
Chris, chew my gum. Chew my gum.
Yeah. Come on, man. Got any ABC gum, bro?
Gosh, please, somebody,
And before I leave the van, I must get 3 kisses from Macaroni on each cheek.
I gotta tell. Yeah, I do. I gotta tell him bye. Yeah, you got superstitions because it just like it makes you feel good. Like it's never a good feeling when you're like, well, I don't know, I don't have things, I don't have my Burt's Bees, or I don't have any gum to chew on. Like it just like
my cat is pissed at me.
Yeah, like Macaroni's not there, dude. He ran off. Like you would just like make your mind go elsewhere. Then if everything's right, then it's like, okay, I'm ready to go.
Good to go.
Everything's good.
Yeah, that's true. Because then you're prepared, you're focused, you're ready. You kind of get all your ducks in a row, and now it's time to go do this thing.
Yep.
All right, Chris. What does the rest of your season look like for you from here? Where are you going, and what are your kind of expectations? We alluded a little bit to your kind of traditionally or historically, the second half of the season has typically been your, is it fair to say, better half of the season? Maybe more comfortable half of the season.
Yeah.
What are you thinking about? Do you think about that stuff now? Like, are you thinking about Worlds is coming up, USDGC, or is it just I got Beaver State this weekend? After that is whatever.
No, I try to like concentrate on the tournament at hand. Of course, there's a lot of tournaments. So if I just think off the top of my head, like I'm really excited for Idlewild. You know, I love playing there. That's going to be super fun. I think we're doing like a DD clinic and get to meet Team Idlewild and stuff. So that's going to be super fun. You know, but yeah, USDGC is like way down the road. You know, Worlds is pretty far away. And so I kind of concentrate on the tournament at hand and the next like week or two, usually. But, you know, when I think about every single tournament, I get excited for it. So that's super cool. But after the week after Worlds, I believe there's a festival that's like south of Kansas City. It's only like an hour and a half from Emporia. And it's called like Dance Festopia or something. And it's like 5 days long or something. So we might stop for a couple days and check it out.
There you go.
And dance.
So that'll be fun.
Worlds don't care about that.
Come, AJ.
USDGC don't care about that. Music festivals care about that.
That's No, I care about all. I care about all of them, of course. But you know, you gotta like because we play disc golf nonstop. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All day, every day, and you know, a lot of the young kids, Gannon Burr, Cole Redall, they're like, yeah, dude, we watch disc golf all the time. We watched it before bed. And I'm like, dude, I can't do that anymore. Right. When I first started getting into it, yeah. But it's like, you got to balance it out. You got to have your life away from that where you don't think about that and stress out about, you know, performance.
How do you find that balance of like, do you force yourself to say, oh, okay, there's a new Jomez video out. I'll watch it tomorrow. Or do you just not even pay attention to that stuff? Like, how do you find the balance of, obviously we all got into the game because we loved it, right? We played disc golf. We loved it. Some of us just put the work in, or we're naturally gifted enough to make it to a level where our play kind of makes it our livelihood. How do you find that balance of keeping that flame alive, so to speak? Or is it, you know, between that and then just like making it a job that I don't like this, I'm just good at it? How do you find that balance? Or is it just a constant struggle?
No, I love it. I've never really had an issue with like not being motivated enough. You know, the only time where that might be an issue would be like the off season when there's like a foot of snow on the ground.
Right.
And you're like, all right, dude, you got to do your squats and your push-ups, man. You got to get your work in today. Like, but you know, during the season and stuff, like I never find issues with motivation. But honestly, like I rarely ever watch any disc golf like videos, like rounds or anything. Like if I'm on one, I might want to go back and see a couple shots, like cool shots or something like that.
Sure.
But I rarely like I just did a Jomez putting game last week at a brewery that comes out in the off season, and I had to like go and watch one of the putting games to see what I was actually doing. And I was like, okay, I figured that's what it was. So I was like, I want to know, you know, so I'm not coming in cold.
Right.
But yeah, I think, you know, and for everybody, it's different. You know, Andrew Presnell, like messaged me and Hannah. We're like, hey, you guys want to go see the new Jurassic Park on Thursday night, you know, and stuff. So you find things to do. You just find fun stuff to do, like going to a festival or going out and finding, you know, food, or just going hiking, just stuff like that. You know, that's what works for me.
You and Presnell are on talking terms?
He didn't listen to last time you were on the show?
Gotcha. Good.
No,
that's lucky,
I should send him a sound clip.
Just send him the whole thing.
Love it.
It was like 45 minutes of just Chris blasts Presnell.
Did I really? I feel so bad.
It was,
but not really.
Well, I remember the beginning of it was like we were talking about the worst shots we've ever seen. And you from your back pocket take out a Harry Potter novel of this one time Presnell this, and then Presnell this, and then one time Presnell did this.
I feel like there was another one recently. Did I tell you about the time
at
Jonesboro? Did I tell you about Jonesboro?
No.
Okay.
I think the one you mentioned was like a backwards tee shot or something. That
was at Northwoods Black Ledgestone last year, and then he threw that roller almost backwards at DDO or when it was a GBO a couple years ago, I think. And so at Jonesboro this year, he was on. It's the one after the little island hole. I think that's hole 6. It's like that par 4 where you throw up over the hill and then you got to approach the green and there's like a fence. There's like a little fence, and he was putting, and he went to putt and like the fence knocked the disc out of his hand, and he didn't even and then he like looked up at his hand. He was like, "Where did my disc go?" And so he basically putted nowhere. So that's another one on Fresno.
It's not right. Like, it's not right.
I love it.
This is a very pro Andrew Presnell show. He's a great guy. At least in my experiences with him, he's been nothing but a great human being to me. Very good disc golfer, far better than I will ever be. But man,
does he have some blunders?
Unluckiest player on tour.
Tell you what,
he does. He does have some blunders, and we laugh about it because they'll like tell me about them, and I think they're hilarious.
I think that just even more proves like how good he is, because he can hit a fence that is in his stance. Like the disc goes nowhere. He doesn't even realize what just happened. But yet he's still out there on tour. He still somehow finds a way to make that stroke up somewhere.
See, boys and girls, anything is possible. Anything.
There you go. Yeah.
You can throw a disc backwards and literally still be on the pro tour.
That's right. That's right.
It just all depends on your attitude.
Yeah.
You can win so many B tiers, A tiers, hit the road whenever you feel like it.
He killed it. I played with him the last round in Portland, and he played really well.
Nothing backwards, nothing.
No crazy shots.
Okay, good.
He doesn't do it when he's on my card for some reason. So maybe he's lying this whole time.
Oh, he's trying to get in your head of like, oh, Chris, there's a fence on hole 7. I don't know if you know. It's right there by the green. You can
all these stories were somebody else.
Yeah.
It was somebody else.
All
that
these
he
stories
watched.
were actually me. Oh my god.
Is this like a Fight Club situation? Like Presnell doesn't actually exist.
Oh no. What's happening?
Oh jeez. Oh,
I'm in the Twilight Zone.
All right, we've got one more squad question, and it's in just a totally different vein, a completely different mindset than wherever we were just at. This one comes to us from Adam, and it's a little bit more of like a serious. Well, it's not a little bit more of a serious topic. It actually is a more serious topic. Adam wants to know your thoughts on, with all the players that are out with injuries or illness and anything like that, should the PDGA implement some sort of sanctions on how many events a player can play or mandatory time between events? Basically, he's asking if they should have more systems or checks in place in the name of player safety, right? We see this all the time in the NFL, NHL, things about concussions. We're not a contact sport, so we don't have to worry about stuff like that. But player safety is kind of the name of the game. It's kind of always the main talking point with a lot of professional sports, where that, at least from my point of view, it's not really a thing that the PDGA is concerned with. Do you think that's, as a player, do you think that's something that maybe PDGA, Pro Tour, the organizing bodies should have more of an emphasis on, or more of a say in?
I just want to say first off, it's not the PDGA's fault or the Disc Golf Pro Tour's fault for anybody's injury.
Correct. Yes.
Let's just get that out of the way.
Absolutely not pointing any fingers. No. Yeah. Thank you. Definitely not.
But should the Pro Tour say, hey, let's cut our events by 10%?
Right, like minimum 2 weeks between Elite Series events, or something, or is it?
Yeah.
Do you like kind of getting in the flow of every weekend?
There's definitely talk, and a lot of us players definitely talked about, a lot of players being injured this year. And if you talk to like Seth Muncie with Disc Golf Strong, like it's almost like half the tour is dealing with some kind of injury. Sure. And to me, from talking to other players, I think personally that it is due to the length of courses we're playing every week, especially the first two months of the year. We were playing nothing but almost wide open, windy courses. And so when you're practicing those every day and you're playing them every week and you're throwing as hard as you can on almost every shot, you're going to see a bunch of people get injured. Especially when we have, months where we have 3 disc golf Pro Tour events, Elite Series events, and then maybe like a Silver Series thrown in there. I think we need to find, a balance. Probably a couple of years ago, there was a disc golf Pro Tour like one a month. And so then you're playing some A tiers and stuff like that. And when you're playing these B tiers and A tiers, you're playing shorter courses. A course like De La, where you can actually throw mids and stuff. You don't have to go full power on every single shot all week in practice and then do it during the tournament. And so I think we need to find a balance of the length of courses and the types of courses that we're playing. And I think we'll start seeing injuries go down, because when we're just trying to throw as far as we can, and that's like the only or one of the few skill sets that a course, tests, then you're going to see a ton of injuries, because throwing really hard is not great on your body all the time.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point. That's something that Eric always talks about on the show. Is he always says, never throw 100%. Like, if you're trying to throw max distance, go like 90%, 95%. Because once you try and hit that 100%, that's when injuries start happening. That's when, if your form isn't perfect, that's when you can tweak something, pull something, whatever. Yeah, that's really interesting. I hadn't thought about that, because it, you see guys throwing 500-foot bombs and it just looks easy, but it's not. It just looks easy. And so because it looks easy, you don't think about that.
If I'm practicing a lot of the courses in the first couple months, like I knew I was going to be throwing a forehand, a big forehand, but in practice I just wouldn't, because I didn't want to like hurt myself and like have to just sit out there and throw 50 forehands a day every day in practice and then have to do that in the tournament. Like my arm would just fall off. And so I had to like not throw or throw a backhand or a roller or something like that in practice, because it's tough on your body. And you see that, with one of our top players out, Ricky out, Eagle out, like that's tough, and Ricky's due to Lyme's, I believe. So, but Eagle, throwing forehands in his arm. And then like we had Gavin Rathbun, who just came back and won an A tier, I was really happy to see that.
Sick.
Yeah. I'm glad that he's feeling good. But these injuries are tough, and somebody like Gannon Burr, who is really, really, really lanky, and he's already had knee surgery, and he's only 16. If he continues to, he had a knee surgery a year or two ago
because of a disc golf injury or what? I guess that doesn't really matter.
Yep.
It's not.
Yeah, and like Yuli's out, and it was a disc golf injury, and Yuli's, tore his knee up.
ACL on the course a few years ago.
Yep, that was out of Blue Lake in Portland.
I was on the card with him. That was tough to watch.
It was bad. Yeah, I remember hearing really about it. And so I think, when we played at, some of the holes at Blue Lake were kind of shorter too, and it was like so refreshing, and you'd hear that when you talk to other people, be like, dude, we actually get to throw mid-ranges now off the tee. This is awesome. Like, and you don't have to throw so hard. You can throw more technical shots and, and then make putts. And so it's nice. It's different. Maybe it's not what fans want to see or the Pro Tour wants. And maybe the game's just evolving to, being you have to drive it 600 feet to score well. But I'm still going to fight for more technical courses like Milo, like Maple Hill, like De La to be played. And I think that'll keep injuries to a minimum, hopefully.
Yeah. And I think that's the important part. It's just whatever we can do to keep players safer for longer. Yeah. Keep players playing at the highest level they can, both in terms of for months during the season, but then seasons as a whole. I think everybody's in favor of that. The player wants that. The organization,
because it's always
wants that,
good.
The fans. Yeah.
Right. Because Simon being in the game is amazing, and he just won 2 back-to-back, but he was injured. He was out for like a year. Yeah. A year or two ago. And so like having those players, Yuli and Simon, Eagle, Ricky, having them playing just makes disc golf better. Yeah. And so I think it's how you mitigate those injuries is not throwing huge bombs on every single shot.
I think it comes down to preparation. And I mean, I guess
It's a big word for you today.
yeah, it's
You
an
were
it's an
prepared.
important word. It's an important word in our
Preparation.
lives.
It's true.
And
Very
I mean,
true.
you could prepare mentally by reminding yourself 70%, 70% on most throws. And making that like in the forefront of your mind, that could be a way to prepare. Physically though, I think we as a sport of disc golf could learn so much from baseball and basketball, hockey, tennis, golf. All of these sports, you see these players go like full throttle for, basketball 3 hours almost.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, they get breaks here and every so often,
Yeah.
but they play 80 games in 8 months, something like that, and then the playoffs, which is just as it's just as grueling.
Mm-hmm.
Baseball is like a 7-8 months season with
Something like
160 games,
Yeah.
and then the postseason.
Yeah.
Football is we have these big major sports with years and years of data that we can look at, and I think we ought to. I mean, Seth Muncy is a revelation in our sport.
Yeah.
I think we just need to keep the faith with him and disc golf strong and pour more resources into that, because of course we want to see Simon playing regularly. We want to see Eagle playing regularly.
Right.
I know me personally, I would love to be back on tour.
Yeah,
Right.
And
of course.
and what I learned is that it's preparation. It all comes down to preparation, and that object in one's mind of what disc golf is, I think needs to shift. And it needs to expand. A round of disc golf, once we might have thought, a round of disc golf takes 2 hours from just stepping out, and you think that's 2 hours out of the car. 2 hours from the moment I open my door to the moment I close it and I'm back in. That's my time frame. It's like, well, now that time frame ought to be like 3 hours. Right. Or maybe you need to start that clock when you are at home, and so the things before you throw your first shot, that's where that's like a really important chunk of time.
Mm-hmm.
That needs to be used wisely by these professional athletes. And then the portion of time at the end of the round, after in between the 18th hole and closing that car door with you inside the car, that we need to put more emphasis on that. Those and then go into the off season.
Seth is helping with that
the off
for
days.
sure.
Yeah, he
I
is.
still think there's like overlap, back like speaking of like NFL football, there were a lot of guys who would go and like work their day jobs and then play on the weekends back in like the 50s and 60s. And so I think disc golf's at that point to where it is starting to become more professional, and like athletes are, taking it more seriously, because even 10-15 years ago you'd have the top players at the time where they get done and then they're just drinking beer and stuff like that,
Right.
And so now like athletes, we are taking better care of our bodies, but there's still going to be people who don't quite. And I think preparation, making sure your body's strong helps prevent injury. And that's like a lot of what Seth teaches, is making sure you're strong so you can prevent those injuries rather than getting injured than trying to recover from it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think there's still definitely a ways to go, but it seems like the Pro Tour is definitely has a strong emphasis on player safety and stuff like that.
Good.
And health.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
another thing. It's like safety and health. I think there are differences between those two words, and yeah, I think, and
we're all in favor of more as much as we can do in that regard.
Right.
Good.
Yeah.
We want that. You
well,
want that.
and so then I don't know. I think really it's a lot of it is like a mental an attitude shift, and expansion. So, but I mean,
yeah,
it's I currently I'm loving to as an audience member, I'm loving how many Elite Series events there are. And I'm loving to watch all these players like every other week. And it kind of makes me like think, man, yeah, those are some rough days as a disc golfer or a fan of disc golf when like Chris alluded to that there was one Elite Series event per month, maybe. I remember those days. That's when I first started touring. That's what it was. It was like, okay, what is this month's NT, or this month we get an NT and a major.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
And it was like, yeah, pretty spread apart like that. So, but I don't know if we want to go back to that. It's
yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. I think we'll have to find it. We'll have to find that answer. We can dive into that next week, because unfortunately that's all the time that we've got for this week.
Okay.
It looks like Chris's time ran out already, so we have lost him. But thank you to Chris for joining us. Everyone out there, follow Chris, support Chris, pick up his Lucid X Culprits when they are available.
Keep your ear to the ground.
Yes, be on the lookout for those. Follow him on Instagram, Facebook, everywhere and anywhere. Follow us. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. AJ, thanks. Danny, thanks.
Glad to be back.
Eric, you're not here.
Enjoy Alaska.
Later. Yes, Eric is in Alaska. We will try and get with him next week, depending on his schedule and everything like that. But that's it. Thank you, everyone, for watching episode 28.